And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather Smash Show here, coming at you from the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Thanks for tuning in and stargazing with us as we bring you the most comprehensive space weather and most detailed imagery of the closest star that you'll see anywhere in the known universe. There was an X-class flare. Did it have any effects on Earth? It did indeed have some. Did it create a coronal mass ejection? We've got some spectacular imagery of the closest star today. So strap in. Strap in your strap on, or wear a seatbelt, or something like that. We've been naming filaments also. We've got the Kanye West filament. Will it make it to the western side of the sun? Let us know in the comments what you think. Also, we've got the Renee Gable filament up here, named after our viewer who came up with the idea of naming filaments. What's that? You want a closer look at this X-class solar flare? Okay, if you insist. How about them apples? We'll let it play through a third time for your viewing pleasure. Number one, I order you to refrain from taking a number two over it. Don't poop your pants because a solar flare has happened. And don't get solar flares confused with coronal mass ejections. They're separate phenomena. Solar flares are photons. Coronal mass ejections are protons. There's the last yesterday plus today imagery from SDO continuum. We've had some growth in this sunspot group, some growth in this sunspot group, so a major solar uptick here in general. There is your colorized magnetogram. And let's take a look at volcanoes. Looks like a volcanic uptick here also. So we've got Shivaluch producing a 14,000-foot ash plume, flight level 140. Abiko, flight level 100, 10,000-foot ash plume from Abiko. Sakurajima, that's actually the volcano pictured here. Powerful explosion from Sakurajima there. Ash plume about 9,000 feet, flight level 090. Suwanosejima, flight level 060. Kilauea. All right, Kilauea began a new effusive eruption. How about them apples? So, new eruption there at Kilauea. Excellent stuff. Also, the Cleveland volcano there in the Aleutian Islands now. Now on the list because of a sustained reduction of volcanic unrest. Looks like Cleveland is calming down. Popocatépetl not calming down, it's exploding. It's a flight level 210. Fuego, flight level 150 as it explodes in Guatemala. Sangay, Ecuador. Sangay, Revenador, and Cotopaxi all erupting in Ecuador in an explosive fashion. Flight level 220 over Sangay, flight level 150 over Revenador, and flight level 220 over Cotopaxi. Sabancaya also exploding, 22,000-foot ash plume over Peru from Sabancaya, and Villarrica continues its elevated activity. Don't pole vault the caldera. Here's the last 90 days of seismic activity. It's been fairly calm. Largest quake of the past 24 was a 5.9 in Afghanistan, which came in at 1425 yesterday. We also saw a Mexican quake of a 5.3 magnitude. Southern Mexico there. Besides that, pretty calm. Nothing else in the 5 range except this South Sandwich Islands quake at the 5.1 magnitude. And before we get back to space, take a moment to visit our links. If you haven't checked out the Hemp Lucid link, you can save some cash by using our link or by using the promo code SMASHOMASH10 on checkout. All kinds of different solutions to your daily life problems. Improve your life and health. Perhaps with some products from Hemp Lucid. Lots of different products there. Everything from body balm to pet CBDs to mushrooms for focus and sleep and stress. Are you stressed? Do yourself a favor with some Hemp Lucid products. Links below the video and on the homepage at smashomash.com. If you want to support the channel, become a member of the Smash Team at smashomash.com/Smash Team. In 2018, a crack YouTube unit was sent to social media prison for a crime we didn't commit. We promptly escaped a maximum security social media stockade to the internet underground, where we survive as producers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find the content, maybe you can hire the Smash Team. Thanks to our gold and silver Smash Team level members, there's also a bronze level there for those of you unable and or unwilling to open your cobweb-encrusted wallets and send us a few bucks a month to make the content, since we make just this side of nothing to put these videos on YouTube. So here's some more spectacular imagery of the closest star. That's 171 angstroms. We've also included 131 plus 193 for showing flares and filaments. Also coronal holes there coming into view. And here's some more imagery of that X-class flare and that new large sunspot. So we can expect an overall uptick here in solar activity. Radio flux is now at 154 solar flux units, and the sky's the limit on the radio flux at this point. It is off to the races. You can expect to see an increase in the radio flux in the coming days. We've seen increases in sunspot number. If you were praying for a grand solar minimum, sorry, your prayers weren't answered. There's the 1 year graph of it. Radio flux 154 solar flux units. The most proportional data set to sunspot number, and we are at a new level of solar activity here. We've moved beyond the 30-day wolf number. We are well into the heights of solar cycle 25 so far, and we've got a couple of years before we reach solar max. Now, NOAA's not forecasting any sort of impacts from CMEs here. We are expecting a minor CME impact early to midday on the 8th. So it's going to be a very minor impact. I believe there is some diffuse plasma headed this way, but it's only a tiny component of a larger coronal mass ejection. So no major impacts there. No geomagnetic unrest or geomagnetic storms forecasted by NOAA or by us. Next, your planetary K index. That's a measurement of global geomagnetism. We're at KP1, very calm conditions. And here's Earth's magnetic moment from space for the past 4 hours. Now, of course, when I joke around and I say the Earth is croissant-shaped, that's because all the funniest jokes are ones that are true. So, Earth is indeed croissant-shaped from the perspective of its magnetic moment. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground. Also the last 4 hours. And we did share some auroral animations on the Twitter page. If you don't follow us on Twitter, at Smashomash. And if you don't have a Twitter, get a Twitter and tell Elon Musk to end the pathetic and putrid censorship, aka shadow bans, otherwise known as deboosting, on the platform. You know, Twitter, the big tech organization that misleads investors. Yeah, that one. Next, go to the real-time solar wind. Looks like we may have had a CME impact here, as we saw a little increase in the plasma temperature, a change in the magnetic fields, an increase in the solar wind speed and density simultaneously. So that looks a bit like a coronal mass ejection impact there. A minor one, didn't cause very much to happen on a geomagnetic scale, it looks like. And it looks like it is now subsiding. Current conditions are about 5.5 protons per cubic centimeter for the solar wind density. Solar wind speed, about 435 kilometers a second. Next, your magnetometers, which are now the GOES 16 and GOES 18. So the GOES 18 now in service. And we're seeing kind of low magnetism here around the Earth. Next, looking at the polarity of the heliospheric current sheet. Earth is in a South Pole current sheet, and there is a North Pole current sheet rushing this way. It might not be detectable on the imagery yet, but it's on the way. North Pole current sheet is coming. This data is from 51 ground-based magnetometers. 51 ground-based magnetometers, stereo B magnetometer, and stereo A magnetometer is where the data is derived. There is our line of sight field plot. Solar B field depicted in blue, north solar polar field in green, south solar polar field in red. And we'll move to coronal holes next. So we've got most of the south solar polar fields here oriented somewhat toward the Earth. And let's take a look at SDO's last 24 hours and 211 angstroms. Which brings us to sunspots. So looking at sunspots here, 3182 is certainly the sunspot group to watch. 3181 has also grown. We've got a huge likelihood of additional large solar flares, including flares of the X class. So don't be surprised to see additional large flares here. Multiple sunspot groups with highly complex magnetic fields. And let's move to some more imagery here. There's SDO continuum plus 171 angstroms. Let's subtract the 171 angstroms. Let's move in a little closer. There you go. So we'll see the sunspot number go up today. We'll see the radio flux go up today. We might see more large flares. So there's the culprit for that X-class flare. Sunspot 3182. Here's the magnetogram. And sometimes the magnetogram rapidly changes when an X-class flare occurs. In this case, no big changes happening there. The flare came from the region trailing the sunspot, actually. So there's a great composite there. We've added 94 angstroms to show you that flare. As you can see, no big changes to the magnetic fields happening there from that flare. We didn't see any relativistic particles either, so no spikes in the gauge proton flux there. No relativistic particles made it to Earth from that solar flare, which occurred at 0 dark 50 approximately. Was the peak flux. 0 dark 50. It was a bit of a long duration flare, but it was also very short onset. So sudden occurrence and then a rather slow ramp down. It took like over 2 hours for that to ramp down to its C-class background level. So let's take a look at that flare up close here. First, the full disk view in 94 angstroms. And the full disk view in 131 angstroms. Here come some spectacular money shots. There's the 131 angstroms wavelength. And the magnetic loops associated with that solar flare were multiple Earth diameters in size. You could say it was a rather large plasma event there associated with that solar flare. Let me go back to that. I'll let that play through one more time. DAG. Here we've added 193 angstroms to show any sort of filamentary eruptions happening there around the same time. And you can see not a lot of ejecta there. I'm not even sure if there was a CME, a prime example of how you can have a solar flare without a coronal mass ejection, the same way you can have a coronal mass ejection without a solar flare. That's why we stress repeatedly on the channel that these are separate phenomena. And here we've also put up 131 plus 304 angstroms, which could also show CMEs happening. And I don't see a CME associated with that event. I don't think there was one at all. There's no indication that there was. Dag, that is some good stuff. Next, we're looking at a star chart here as the nearly full moon sets in the west over Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. If you want to make your own star chart for your location, head to in-the-sky.org. This one is the all-sky chart. And let's do a solar system forecast. As Earth moves around to the gas giant free side of the solar system, let's advance this 1 week. Here's where things will be in 7 days. I think full moon is actually today on January 6th. Oh my God, to commemorate January 6th, folks. The worst day in American history, pardon my sarcasm. So there are yesterday's frames from George Mason University. And if we did see a CME from that associated with that X-class flare, we would expect to see it obviously on today's imagery. And we got 37 frames there, and I don't see anything going on. An indication that there was no coronal mass ejection associated with that solar flare. So we'll make sure here by looking at stereo A located at Lagrange 5 and Soho Lasco C3 located at Lagrange 1. Oops. All right. Sorry about that. So I don't see a CME there at 0 dark 50. Definitely nothing going on. No CME associated with that solar flare. So here we look at the last 24 hours. Soho Lasco C2, C3, and SDO 304 angstroms. Let's zoom in a little closer. So there were some CMEs here. I don't see any earthly directed. Let me go back to stereo A here for just a minute. So this CME that we see here, this is like on the southern portion, a little bit on the far side also. Nothing resembling earthly directed, so that's what's going on. No additional CMEs headed this way. But stay tuned for additional large solar flares. Next, looking at filaments. That is our ground-based Hydrogen Alpha Solar Observatory in El Teide, Spain. And the Kanye West filament is approaching center disk here. Will Kanye West make it to the west? Or will it coronally mass eject before leaving the east? Anyway, let's play it again. We're going to head to Twitter and play Name That Filament. And you're again invited to follow us on Twitter. Don't worry, you'll see Elon Musk's tweets even if you don't follow Elon Musk. It's brilliant. It's full of shadow bans, otherwise known as deboosting. And Twitter misleads investors, just like Google, Facebook, Apple, Tesla, etc. And don't forget Amazon. All companies operating 20-year outdated software. Next, visit our links below the video for links to our Redbubble shop. If you haven't checked it out, we just recently released a new piece of merch. It's because reasons. Yes, because reasons. Why is Fauci still revered? Because reasons. Why are so many bad decisions made? Because reasons. Why do people believe so much nonsense on YouTube? Because reasons. Which brings me to today's featured product, the galactic current sheet. Now, I'm currently wearing the galactic current sheet. So, of course, I guess you could call it a galactic current blanket because it's so soft and plush. It's just spectacular. Oh my God, I'm destroying the place. I'm tearing the place down here as we speak. The whole system is falling apart, folks. Oh my God. It must be because of the galactic current sheet. Oh, look how spooky it is. Oh no, the galaxy. I'm very scared of the galaxy, folks. The galaxy. It's very mean and spooky. Check this out. Watch this. Space. It's so calm and... Oh no, the galaxy. Oh, galaxy. I'm very spooked. I'm spooked of the galaxy, folks. I'm spooked. The throw blankets are very plush. You will rub it against your face and say, ooh, ah, la la. Perhaps get a duvet cover or a comforter and sleep beneath the galactic current sheet. Hopefully you're on the right side of it. Don't worry, folks. Maybe Neptune's weather is going to reverse. In any case, the galaxy isn't going to kill you. And if you're putting out nonsense and propaganda on YouTube, you know who you are. Accountability will come for you. If you enjoy the content, press like, subscribe, share, etc. If you haven't visited our playlists, visit our playlists. And if you're only viewing the videos on BitChute, go subscribe over on YouTube. You're missing most of our content. We have no playlists on BitChute, and we have several, like a dozen, on YouTube. Also, if you haven't heard the 12 Days of Smashmas, we released original music on the first 12 days of December. Thanks to our YouTube subscribers. Thanks to everybody who's viewed over the past pushing 6 years of the most detailed space weather in the known universe. Press share, comment, etc. Visit our links. You can find links below the video to all sorts of things on different websites. We've built a huge web ring in response to pathetic censorship on Facebook, actually. Meta, another organization that misleads its investors. Yes, certain organizations, Google, mislead their investors. Let's get back to space. Let's see what's going on the past about 2.5 hours here on GOES 16 SUVI. The Renee Gable filament is still certainly intact. The crown prominence up there. And of course, the Kanye West filament also still hanging out. That is one huge filament. Let's hope Kanye West does not destroy all of civilization. Just kidding, folks. It's not likely that even if it did eject, that it would destroy all civilization. Nearly a 0% chance of that. Even a Carrington event would only kill some power grids, probably not all. Anyway, here's the last 24 in higher resolution and a little bit narrower field of view there from SDO. Which brings us to our bonus features. So starting bonus features out with satellite charging hazards. We ain't got none. Satellite charging hazards are chillin'. It's smooth sailing for satellites. Here is our GOES electron flux. Kind of low levels there. And not sure what the forecast is. No forecast from me. Here's NOAA's forecast. A little dip and then an increase. Okay, sounds good to me. The green boxes are the forecast. The yellow diamonds are the observation. Here's the 1-year chart of the greater than 2 mega electron volt electron fluence. And let's take a look at the F layer of the ionosphere where the GOES 16 and 18 make their measurements. So here's the vibrational frequency. As we've been showing this, the ionosphere imagery actually made it to our thumbnail yesterday, since apparently we're the only entities in the entire world who are talking about the South Atlantic anomaly having moved over 1,000 miles to the southwest. No big deal. Also, the South African anomaly has moved several hundred miles to the north. Nothing to see here, folks. Here's the anomalygram, and we've had this ongoing anomaly right around this area for weeks. Low-frequency anomaly happening there around the equatorial Atlantic, Africa, the equatorial East Pacific, and South America. That's anomaly in megahertz from a 30-day median. And the South Atlantic anomaly is now down here instead of over the South American continent. It's super obvious. We asked Tamitha Skov to comment on it, and we got no response. In any case, here's your latest image. That's 1145 universal time vibrational frequency. There's the 1145 universal time anomalygram. Some major shifts happening right as we stream. Next, we'll look at the total electron content. This is the most likely places to see GPS errors, and we're seeing massive anomalies here. We're seeing huge anomalies over the Caribbean of the low electron content type. The heck? All right, it doesn't matter. This is the free electrons up to about 12,500 miles of altitude. That's about where your GPS satellite is located. And check out the massive GPS errors here. Seeing huge GPS errors here and seeing an anomaly right here. A low electron count anomaly there over the Caribbean. Right there. You don't see that every day. And if you don't see our videos every day, you might not know what you're looking at. It's the free electrons between your GPS satellite and your handset. Do yourself a favor by becoming a member of SureMed if you haven't. Check out the links below the video or on the homepage at smashomash.com. SureMed, it's not insurance. It's an association membership with the American Better Health Organization, a nonprofit aimed at improving your health. You get all kinds of discounts and services as perks to your SureMed membership, like doctors by phone, counselors by phone, virtual veterinarians, huge discounts, 15 to 50%, that is on dental. Discounts on vision, like save 65% on prescription eyeglasses and so forth with your SureMed membership. Check it out below the video. Again, welcome to the Neo Renaissance. We are in the process of writing a paper to explain plausibly the mechanism underlying the solar cycles. So please support the channel. If that paper passes peer review, it'll be the most important paper in hundreds of years. Once again, welcome to the Neo Renaissance. And here is our latest imagery. Sunspot 3182 is certainly Beta Gamma Delta class. That is a highly chaotically mixed magnetic field setup. The likelihood of additional X-class flares very high, above 50%. We've got a new sunspot down here also. I don't remember that one being there. And also I would note, you see this sunspot right here? It is at a very high latitude. That is something that you see at the beginning of solar cycles. Another indication that there is a long way to go to get to solar maximum, and we're watching the uptick happen right now. Anyway, there's your rock back. And it's time to move to meteorology. So thanks for tuning into the space weather portion, folks. We're going to move to the meteorology section now. We throw it in as an added perk because I discovered about 15 years ago that forecasting the weather is way too easy. I needed an additional challenge. Space weather was appropriate. Also, I realized in the mid-1990s that I had to take a deep dive into heliophysics because of its implications on cosmology. The only reason we think we know what's going on in the cores of distant galaxies is because we think we know what's going on in the core of the sun. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. In any case, here are the polar jet streams of the North Polar region. So we've got this very straightened out jet stream here, so it's going to help weather systems to move rather quickly in this portion of the globe. The jet stream, it's straightened out a bit in the northern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere jets, fairly well organized as well. I'm sure there's probably a YouTube channel out there who's frightened of the jet streams. Let us know in the comments if you follow a YouTube channel who's frightened of jet streams. I'm sure there are all kinds of physical phenomena that we can be frightened of. Oh my God, the jet streams. I'm spooked. Look, they're going backwards over the Western Pacific. Oh my God. It means Earth's orbit is going to switch directions and Earth's rotation is going to reverse also because some complete cretin who's never taken physics on YouTube told me so. So there are the jets of the East. Shout out to our viewers from all around the world. Please share our videos in this part of the planet, as the majority, the largest, the most populous area is right here And we have almost 0 viewers in that portion of the world. I'm sure it's not because of pathetic censorship by big tech or anything. No, it couldn't be. People in that part of the world just aren't interested in the most comprehensive space weather and detailed imagery in the world of the sun. I'm sure they're not interested in that. How could that affect them? It's totally irrelevant, right? Right? Those are the surface winds of the east. Here are the surface winds of the west. We've got some strong winds there in the North Atlantic. Here are the jet streams of the west. Jet streams of the central world, depicted ha. And here are the surface winds. And let's blast through some more. We don't want the video to be too long. This is what's going on in terms of clouds and fog over the croissant-shaped Earth. Yes, croissant Earth. To quote Seinfeld, it's funny because it's real. Earth, it's shaped like a croissant. NASA wants you to believe it's shaped like a sphere. They're lying to you, folks. Oh, my God, it was fun. Operation Paperclip. Oh, no, it means NASA's funded by Nazis. Oh, my God. That's clouds and fog over the Americas. Here's our weather.gov map. If your county's lit, click your county. If your waterway is lit, click your waterway. We've got some high surf advisories around the west coast of the U.S. Weather.gov is the site. Again, if your area is lit, click your county. It's too much information for us to cover. Let's do some forecasts. Here's your 72-hour GFS accumulated positive snow depth change, a forecast. Some heavy snows coming there to California, including areas here with the expectation of like 3 feet, maybe 4 feet. Right up there. In fact, I think that might even be beyond 4 feet. Looks like it's off the scale there. Certainly 2 feet plus. Anyway, here's our total accumulated precipitation forecast based on the same model, GFS, and the same time frame, 72 hours. And here are the weather systems that will bring that precipitation. That's the same model, pressure and precipitation GFS model for 72 hours. We show the 72 hours because they're accurate. If you've got a YouTube channel who's showing you like 3-week weather forecasts, they are spouting nonsense, as forecasts become highly inaccurate by the time you get to about 4 days. Next, we're going to look at our snow depth map here. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. Here's our European forecast for snow depth. Here we have Monday at 1,300. Looks like we may have some snow here in Lehigh Valley, which is located right about here, by the way, if you're wondering. Right about there. And let's continue on here. Hey, windy.com. Windy.com. They got a great mobile app. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Here's our NASA Goes Lightning Mapper. And some lightning over the Caribbean there. And let's take a look at a real-time lightning map. Do we have terrestrial strikes in the U.S.? It looks like we had one errant strike here in South Dakota, near Buffalo Gap National Grassland. Sounds delightful. Next time you hear thunder, check it out, lightningmaps.org. I think we had a terrestrial strike in Florida. Nope. Just off it's in a swamp. Swamp lightning, folks. Oh my God, it's swamp lightning. It's a directed energy weapon. Oh my God, everything is man-made. Mankind can control the weather and the climate. Oh no! Continuing on to our U.S. Doppler radar map. And we'll focus on the lower 48. Dag, there's some precipitation headed our way. Here is shortwave radiation showing clouds and fog. It's too dark to use a visible satellite. So we use the 3.9 nanometer infrared radiation satellite, which is spiraling around the croissant-shaped Earth. Next, the water vapor map. It shows all the water vapor, not just that which is condensed onto clouds. And a bunch of dry air over the Gulf. Looks like it's clear skies for the northern Gulf of Mexico here. So let's go back. There is your recap. U.S. Doppler radar map showing vertical motion of water droplets. Here is 3.9 nanometer radiation satellite, part of the NASA GOES Interactive Weather Satellite Suite. And last but not least, there is water vapor. Hopefully that clears things up. Hopefully you're not consuming too much nonsense on YouTube. I know there's an endless supply of it, as channels are paid millions of dollars per year to lie to you, misrepresent science, and come up with ridiculous theories that are based on nothing more than imagination. So in any case, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash-O-Mash, signing off. And may that solar wind be at your back. Facts stated in this video not necessarily endorsed by criminal big tech organizations who mislead their investors. Opinions expressed in this video not necessarily the opinions of Smash News Network, least busted name in news.